To know who we are, and where we're going, we must know how we arrived here. Welcome to Rephetic, a revolutionary study of the Great Pyramid, which promises to rewrite civilization's history. Bones, welcome to the Rephetic podcast.
Hey, buddy.
Is that working?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Yeah. All right, get it a little closer.
Okay.
So there, yeah, good to see you.
Just
You
like
just got
jail.
off work, just like jail.
Put it right next to your lips.
Talking in the phone.
Talk it into the big, black, heavy thing.
Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. And so Jerry here, you're going to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
But, you listen to a couple podcasts, you get the feel for it, huh?
Yep. Come here and spill your guts, and then let the lawsuits flail out.
Right. Then run from the law.
Run from the law.
Yeah, so we've known each other a couple of years.
Been about 18 years.
Yeah.
Almost.
Well, maybe we shouldn't put a date on it.
Yeah, it's been a minute. None of us had gray hair when we met. I know that.
That's too bad.
I have gray pubes, so this is going south quick.
That's funny, man. Funny. So you came straight from work. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a commercial carpenter. I've been building commercial buildings for about 30 years. I got into it kind of late.
No
in
pyramids?
life. Not yet. I have built a lot of structures, and usually when I get in a relationship, I fix up a house and then leave the house, and then I take my clothes and my tools and off to the next one.
I built you a house.
All this is yours.
Right.
I'm leaving.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so I've been doing that for like 30 years. So I love building stuff.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then, so you got two boys?
2 sons. I got my sons are Colin and Justin. They're 30 and 28. Good kids, man. I got one grandson by the oldest one. He's 2.5. He absolutely cannot stand me yet, but
The kid?
the little one, yeah, the grandson, Marshall.
Maybe it's the ugly
And it's
beard
always,
stuff.
nah, I'm not doing that. So,
It takes too much to overcome.
yeah, it's like, I don't know. I think this guy's going to ask me some questions, hide under a bridge. I don't know what's going on here. Try to sell me on the black market. You sell one kid, dude. They just,
you're
just
branded.
Just keep heckling.
Maybe
you.
it's the bald troll thing.
Right. It's
and
like,
the beard.
Pawpaw, the big guy. But, he's 2. He's big. He's a good kid, man. He's a good kid. It's fun.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, I just got my new granddaughter is like 9 months old.
Oh,
From my oldest kid. Yeah.
It's a game changer, dude. When they're 2 and they start talking and everything, it's just kind of cool, man. But,
Day
it is
to
what
day,
it is.
Yeah. So you've seeded the world
That's it.
with all your brilliance and
Yeah, I gutted
comedy.
myself a couple years ago. I went and I was like, ended a failed relationship, and I was like, I'm probably dating a little too much. I should probably go get fixed. So I got fixed.
And we could talk about failed relationships for the next 2
Oh,
hours.
geez, Marge, that would take the next 4 hours. How long is this thing? Yeah.
Hey, Norm, I thought you was going fishing.
Geez, with the big crawlers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta eat some lunch.
I have a habit. Actually, I just came from my therapist, so I started to find some root of this, and it kind of opened up it answered a lot of questions in my life, man. I'm 57 years old. I am just about on the tail end of my 3rd divorce, and I've lived with 6 women. 3 of them I married, and they've all ended around 3 to 5 years. Maybe 1 or 2 of them went 7 years, and it was never in a row. I get very uncomfortable in a relationship after a while. And I just started seeing this therapist, and he was like, describe your childhood, blah, blah, blah. And so we started to get into that, man. You really want to
Yeah, this is
about
great.
that
No, of course. And
All right,
but
well,
is this the first time you sought outside help?
No,
therapy?
I have before, but I don't stick with it, man. I do 3 or 4 months. I'm out of a relationship, or I'm starting a relationship, and I just blow it off then, and I fall in love or whatever, and I forget about it, and I just go on about my merry way.
Yeah.
But I had two therapists in a row tell me the same thing. They're like, your life is just wash, rinse, repeat. I mean, you're in one relationship 6 times.
Right. Same play, different.
Same thing, just different
actors.
leads. Yeah. So, I quit drinking and drugging almost 20 years ago. It's been 18 years this January. And so I know that feeling of doing the same thing over and over again and trying to get different results. And I was doing the same thing in these relationships. So I started talking to this therapist, and they were like, what was your relationship with your mother and stuff like that, and your father? And I was like, well, my dad was my first hero. That's how I got the nickname Bones. I'm a junior. My middle name is Tim. I thought that was a little too whiny or wimpy or anything, so I didn't really care for the whole Tim name. And Jerry wasn't exactly popular in the house because that was my father's name. You yelled Jerry, Dad answered. So Bones started when I was about 13, and I was able to just become this other person.
Your own person.
Yeah. So it just stuck like glue, man. It really does. A good nickname just can't go away. So at 15, my oldest sister attempted suicide, and the family was just devastated, man. Mm-hmm. We all go into group therapy together, and my little brother is super quiet. He's depressed. My older sister has obviously got problems. My mother's having problems with my sister wanting to check out, and Dad and I were like, oh, cool, you guys figure it all out. We're going fishing. So I basically just stopped talking to my mom kind of right then and there when she had this breakdown after my sister attempted, and I just hung around my dad. And my dad, like most of the men from the 40s and 50s, he just had some major character flaws that were not healthy habits. He was very much a womanizer. It was horrible with money, and he was just short-tempered and hidden his emotions and never really displayed his affection towards his kids and stuff like that.
Right.
And I just thought that I needed some answers, man. So here I figured out that because my mother had kind of emotionally quit on me at 15, that I wouldn't get that investment in these relationships because eventually this woman's going to quit on me also.
Right.
And I found out after the last couple of them that I'm kind of really pushing it that way. So I shut down. I quit.
Yeah, and picking just the right woman that will produce the same result.
The broken bird, or the wounded dove, or the crippled herring, or whatever term that therapist at that time was. And I was like, I look at their flaws, I build them up, I help them get better, and then they get better, and then I resent them for getting better. I think it's a competition instead of a partnership. And I've just been real unhealthy, man, for a number of years.
Yeah,
man, a number of years.
I got a lot
See, sad, poor women.
Right.
They're better off being away from me because my actions and my emotions were just so stunted. I just never really matured. And
yeah.
I feel better now than ever, but I'm starting to get some answers on why I perform in these relationships. You and I do a lot of theater, and someone always asks me, like, what was your greatest role? And I always say, in my whatever relationship I'm in. That's my best role.
Yeah, I know. I told Patty that one day. It was before a play or something. I'm like, this is all make-believe.
Yes.
What happens on the stage is real.
Yeah.
Like you're actually demonstrating.
I'm all in.
Yeah. But
let
now
me sell
here,
this.
It's like we're supposed to keep. Let's mute this. Let's over-exaggerate this. It's just all this fucking play, man.
Right.
So, yeah, that's funny. So about plays and real life, fake life performance. What? So anyway, you had done some in high school, right? And
I started out in theater in high school. I liked. I heard the hardest art to perform is comedy. Okay, but I was so starved for attention, and my father was naturally funny, but it was toilet humor, guy humor, bowling alley humor, locker room stuff. And so if I could get my dad to laugh, dude, I was the winner. So I was the middle kid. I was definitely the court jester of the family, and it just came natural to me at an early age to just repeat the jokes I'd heard from my father, or we'd make fun of kids in the neighborhood, and we would all mimic it, and we'd all do voices and stuff like that. And it was because I was tall and lanky and kind of Chaplin-like, it was just kind of easy for me to start cutting stuff up. So I started doing some theater, but there was no comedies. It was all our first play was Our Town, and I played the town drunk because I'm like 15 years old. I'm 6 feet tall already.
You've been typecast.
I was typecast, and then we did this other one called My Father and Three Sons, or Three Sons and Fathers. I can't get it. But anyway, it was this 3 boys and a dad, and I was like, oh, well, I'm definitely going to get casted as, the father or something. And they were like, no, you're just going to be the steward or something. I was just a janitor standing off on the side. Anyway, so I kind of got burnt out on the high school theater because I wasn't getting any leads and anything. I was probably a pretty crappy actor. So I have this epiphany that I'm just going to do stand-up. I'm going to try stand-up. At the time, Ellen DeGeneres was noted by Showtime as the funniest person in America, and there were buses driving around the country having little stand-ups. And one of them was here in St. Louis, and I'm in my senior year of high school. I'm like, I'm just going to go down there. I don't have any material. I'm just going to riff it, and I'm just naturally funny. It's just going to happen. And I don't go. And then a few weeks later, Grandpa dies, and I decide I'm going to go to Florida after high school and live with my grandmother. And then, anyway, long story short, it took me about another 6 months to build up the courage. I'm in a state, I don't know anybody except my grandmother. And I go to an open mic night. And if you were funny, they would play you on the radio the next day. I tanked hard. And I was like, that's it. I'm never doing it again. I get a job working in construction. And I'm just like, I'm not doing this ever again, man. And so, and then you and I meet 23 years later. And you're like, hey, didn't you go to college for this? Didn't you do this in school? And I was like, dude, it's been 20 plus years since I've been on stage. And I just absolutely loved it, man. I was new in sobriety, and it was just, I was going through another divorce. And
to tell that story, pick that up right there. I was in the Crucible.
Yeah.
Right? Playing John Proctor. It's like 57 pages of dialogue. I mean, I don't know how that works.
Right.
But I was like, we need that priest.
Yeah.
What about Bones?
Yeah.
And so I called you, and you're like, maybe. And we show up, and it's like, yeah.
I just missed it. I always missed it, man. I think if you're good at comedy, you're naturally, you wear the world like a heavy coat, like a wet blanket. Just dramatic things, sad things, just weigh on you a little harder than the other person because you're always the funny guy. And it just has dawned on me in the last couple of years, this epiphany of my thinking is why I'm crying at Coca-Cola ads. Why I remember I watched King Kong with the animated, with Winona Watts, whatever, and I'm like, why is this so sad? It's just an animatronic, it's CGI, it's not real. But I feel things a little deeper. I laugh a little harder. I'm inappropriate at a funeral or a birthing or a wedding. I'm the guy saying the inappropriate stuff, always trying to crack a joke. And it's just, so anyway, so I enjoy the theater a lot because I'm able to display that broad band of emotions that I keep under wraps in society. Yeah. I mean, I could really cut it loose, man.
And that's where it's for.
That's it.
Meanwhile,
everything else is like, he's nuts. Don't give him anything sharp. I mean, people just kind of stray away from that because you're a little, you're intense, I was like, that's where Indians live. And they're like, what? And I was like, sorry, I mean Native Americans or whatever inappropriate joke I've said at that time. It's like, I just, I've always been, I always wanted to be accepted and wanted in the crowd. So I'll go to any length to do that.
And the theater crowd's perfect for that,
It's
too.
perfect, right? Man. We did a few comedies, and they were like, what the hell, man? You are so funny. And I got to direct a comedy here and there. We did a parody of the Christmas Carol, and I was in heaven, man. The director was like, I don't mean to be rude, but I don't think you're very funny. I don't think you know what humor is, you know? This is funny, slapstick. Go back to the old days, the vaudeville days. I go, watch Abbott and Costello. Watch The Three Stooges. Watch old Charlie Chaplin, which is a movie I just watched last night again, that 92 with Robert Downey Jr. What a great, great film, man. Okay. Talking about Charlie Chaplin's life and just the comedy. I mean, he understood the stick, you know, and that was like, I grew up on that stuff. Yeah. Well, it's all timing and, you know, what's over the top and what isn't, what keeping it in the parameters, you know. Right. I saw an interview with Jim Carrey talking about doing Ace Ventura. And they were like, he was like, are you sure? He's acting the director the first couple of scenes. He's like, because, I mean, if I'm committed, I'm committed. Is this it? And that's what it is, man. It's like comedy is like just don't ever quit on the joke. Just write it out. It'll be all right.
Keep going.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. Yeah. And so how do you see that playing out? I mean, because you're not in the theater right now. You're not directing right now.
No. I did a play 4 years ago. I was able to play Chief in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
And I'd done like 13 or 14 plays in the last 10 years. And I was building sets. I directed a couple of them. And it just started to get too much. I was slow at work when we started, but, you know, I'm in my late 50s now. I'm just starting to wind down. I got a few things. I'm, you know, going through another divorce, and I just needed to pump the brakes before.
But you did, and then you came back and played Chief.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. I just loved it. Heavy drama, and the interaction between me and the main character, you know, the guy playing the main guy there, it was awesome because he was like, man, I really like what you're doing there. You know, the back and forth, the character building, the storytelling.
Interaction.
The novel is different than the play, and the play is different from the movie, and it was just very nice to get in there, man. In the play and in the book, Chief's character is narrating the whole story. And we're in the movie, they just eliminated that. And in Ken Kesey, who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, he just died a few years ago, and he said he never watched the movie, Academy Award-winning movie, because he said they, you know, changed it up or whatever. Sure. But it was a good movie, and I always enjoyed the movies, and I got into reading books. I got in some trouble 30 years ago, 25 years ago, and I got in a habit of just reading. And I just started reading. And I noticed that authors write in a certain tempo. Cadence, yeah. And they write differently. Dean Koontz writes differently than Stephen King. And James Patterson writes differently than Lee Child, you know. And I just get hooked on certain types of writers. So I really enjoyed that. I probably read 250 books while I was locked up for a few years, and it opened up my eyes to another world. I'd gone to college for 3 years, man, never cracked a book. I get locked up and go to jail for 3 years. I read 250 books.
Right.
So it's like...
I mentioned that in another episode with somebody else, and then also you mentioned epiphanies. My sister just used that word a couple times, too.
Epiphany is changing the way you think from all other thoughts to that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's important to constantly be teachable, I believe. You know, you and I have embarked on this spiritual life, and I can't be the same guy I was 6 months ago, or I get stagnant, I complacent. Or yesterday. But, I mean, my measuring stick is measured in half years. And even in these relationships, why I've been so open to terminate them after a certain times, I give them 6 months, man. If the verbiage, if the respect, if the character is questionable in a 6-month time, man, I start an out plan, man. Yeah. It's probably not healthy to cut people off. I've remained friends with almost everyone I've ever had a relationship with.
The proof's in the outcome.
Yeah, I always tell them, I was like, if you want in my life, the door's open. If you want out of my life, the door's open. All I ask is that you don't stand in the door while you're blocking traffic.
You're blocking traffic. Yeah. Well, okay, so two things. One, that what you did, the vulnerability you brought to the chief character was palpable in the audience.
Oh,
we only
thank
came
you.
to the one show.
Yeah.
It was really...
Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, but yeah.
It was funny because every play I kept remembering more and more lines. And it was like the last two performances, the director was like, why is your speeches like 10 minutes longer than the normal? I go, because I just remembered them all. But they were kind of some melatonin drama, dribble, and, you know, he's going on. But it was ironic that character had such turmoil with his father. And I had lost my father almost 10 years now. And I had some bones I had to settle up with him, man.
Yeah.
And it was nice. It was nice. And I started to go to therapy a little more, and I started to exercise and journaling and writing. And I had been in construction for 30 years. I've seen a couple horrible things happen on the job site. And I was talking to one of our friends, Carol Lanham, who's an author out in O'Fallon, Missouri. She's written some great books, and I told her a few of these tragedies, and I told her my synopsis of this book I'm wanting to write. And she was like, you have to write that book. You have to write it. That is awesome. What a great idea.
Where are we at today with this?
I am into so I don't know if my chapters are very winded. Maybe I have 13 chapters, or maybe I have 2 of them, but I'm going by locations. So the story, the main character is traveling. So I have him starting in one area, and then the second phase is him retrospect to where his family. And what I did is I've taken the story and basically parodied my life. And then I add this dramatic event and just misinterpret the reality of it when I seen a couple men perish on the job sites.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, what if this character had done this and that? And I don't want to give away the whole thing because this hopefully will be out by the end of the year here.
But in terms of writing it, you're carving out time to write.
Correct. Yeah, and it's difficult right now. Like I said, I have a full-time job. I have a small company I'm running myself. I'm doing some work for people on the side a little bit there, here and there. And then I'm also trying to rehab a home that I live in, and then also going through another divorce. So it's like
I think you
I'm
mentioned
stretched a little. I am stretched a little thin here. Well, it's fresh. You know, it's like a fresh wound still.
Yeah.
And I care about her. She's a great woman, and we just were incompatible, man. I noticed that when you get older in life, your tolerances for other people start to diminish pretty quickly.
Right.
And I'm like 2 more relationships away from that cranky old man that's throwing rocks at pigeons in the park and shit. So here's some Alka-Seltzer, you fucker. Get out of here.
Wow. Yeah. Or, some expanding rice.
Or some, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Get off my lawn, kids.
Get off my lawn.
Jeremy and I were talking about this, Stadler and Waldorf from the Muppets.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, I'm there. I'm
3 or 4 of those
I've already had a
characters.
couple hands up my ass, so I'm like one bad move away from this happening. I went at 50, you got to go to the doctor. So I went and had my colonoscopy, and I asked the doc, I was like, where do I put my pants? He said, set them on the chair over there next to mine. I was like, I can hardly move in this van. Any anesthesia or anything? And he's like, oh, you could try this Cosby. I was like, what the hell is this? And he's making a slushy over there. He's got a snow cone machine. He's cracking open pills. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is normal or not. He didn't charge me anything. I got a lollipop at the end. He got a cage full of puppies and some chewable necklaces. Oh, man. I love going to the doctor.
Oh, my goodness. I gotta breathe here. Hold on.
Oh, man.
Oh, the only thing I could add to that was Patty was in the room with me when I got my first one.
Yeah.
And all I said was, hey, feel free to use more than one finger. Let's see if this could be enjoyable for both of us.
Right.
Because,
Yeah. Well, they knock you out, and as I came to, it was like a fucking hose retracting, like when you're at the gas station and they're pulling the air hose out of the overhead thing, and and you got to pull it down to unlock it. And this thing is snaking out of my ass, dude. I could feel the lube hitting on my ass cheeks as it's. And I was like, good God. Hello. Hey, how you doing? I got a second show tonight, folks. I was like, what the fuck was that, man? It was this fucking camera on this hose reel over here in the corner. And the doc's like, you had a couple polyps. We're good, man. I was like, thanks.
Can I get a hug?
I don't feel right. I still get flowers from him every year. It's weird.
Oh God! Stop!
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's that.
Oh my God. Well. Yeah. How do I come back?
Now you guys all know Bo's got a nice ass. Every time I leave one of my ex-girlfriends at the table, they always tell me, what an ass. So it's got to look good as I'm walking away.
Oh, that's too much. That's too much.
Yeah, I get that a lot too.
Yeah. So I went to therapy before as it pans out, like life stuff. You know, shoelace, whatever, car breaks down, little bankruptcy or whatever's going on.
Right.
But like the big stuff, I know way ahead of time. Oh wait, this is I don't know how to handle this.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I'm out of my depth. So when that happens, I'm like, I need to talk to somebody. And my friends and people, fellowship, whatever, that's, maybe this needs professional listening. So I did that just for that period of time, and it really helped a lot. So.
Yeah, it does. I need like a measuring stick, man. I would need to know if I have a problem. Here's my best guess solution. I don't believe I'm hurting anybody. Is this getting me in the right, or am I just adding to the problem? Is this getting me out of it? Is this getting me into a solution, or am I just adding to the problem? And I had a habit for years as my solution was worse than the problem. So I'm adding to the problem, man. Adding to the problem. So
it's about a map. It's about a guide. It's about direction.
Yeah, I don't want to just beat myself up for the rest of my life, man. I want to make sure that I'm stepping into the right direction, into a healthy tomorrow. And so I want to lay the footwork here. I've been horrible with money. Because I've been in construction, I've always been able to go out and earn extra money. So if I wanted to do something or buy something, I would just pimp myself out, go out and make a bunch of money, and then go buy whatever it is I wanted. Well, unfortunately, as years have gone on, I haven't really developed much discipline with money. So now as for this last endeavor, this last couple of years here, I tried running my own business and stuff like that, and it all just kind of fell apart. So I talked to my therapist about it, and he started me on some healthy habits. So I started to just put away a small amount every paycheck. Yeah. Every week, I just move over a little bit into my savings, and I feel good about it. My youngest boy, Justin, he's a financial advisor. I ask him, what should I buy? I got a little Robinhood account, throw a little $50 a week into it, man, and I'm not losing my mind as far as I don't have anything to get older with. I've always been relying on, a pension or, there's no 401k, there's no gold buried in the yard, there's nothing, I come to find out you got to be really good to make money in porn. I've sent in a bunch of demo tapes. They always ask where the other people are, and I was just, it's like, it's a solo. What are you talking about? They're like, we can't pay for this. I was like, well, I'm not even going to send you my calendar then.
It's a solo.
It's a solo. Oh. So all my money making schemes are kind of out. So I have to come up and rely on week to week. What am I going to do healthy to, so I'm not kicking myself 30 days down the road or a couple of months down the road. So I started to do stuff like that, man. It's starting to pan out. Journaling a lot. I've started to write this book, and I'm starting to get a storyline going, and fixing up my own house. I got a few other clients that I'm working with.
Yeah. What do you get out of journaling? Tell me about journaling, because
go ahead. It's honestly at first.
What's that phone?
I thought it was just mindless dribble. You know, I didn't really get much out of it. Yeah, today I had a hangnail. You know, I sharted in my pants. You know, I ripped my shoelace. I mean, who gives a fuck? You know.
Right.
But as you look back and you reread some of the stuff you've read and the stuff of these things that you're trying to look into yourself, and you're starting to see a pattern and a path, and like, all right, maybe this isn't mindless dribble. Maybe I'm looking for something here and there and so forth. And it just makes sense that if I'm able to journal this, there's a record of it, and then I can do some self-analysis later on to benefit myself for the next day or the next adventure. You know, we have steps and stuff like that in our sober path, and it helps us with that on a day-to-day basis. So I constantly want to keep checking myself 4, 5, 6 months behind. And so that journaling is able to do it. I can flip back a couple of weeks and see, all right, I can see what's really kicking my ass right here. All of a sudden I have a new focus, something shiny I'm able to look at today, and I don't have to worry about that solution because I've gotten into a spiritual life. So I do what I can, and then I just leave it alone.
Right.
You know, if I can't fix it or figure it out, then it's probably beyond me. So I should just go on it. Like, I love your Giza stuff, and I really do admire knowledge. I think knowledge is power, and I think if more people on the planet were focused on knowledge as opposed to this monetary gain in life, the planet would be a lot better.
Yeah,
my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think knowledge is power, man. If you know what's going on.
That doesn't look good on a quarterly spreadsheet.
Not at all. And you can't buy shit with it at Schnucks.
Well, no.
Nothing.
Yeah.
They're like, I know what pie means. They're like, well, you still can't leave with this pie, asshole.
Yeah. You know, the smartest, well, you know, there's a lot of wonderful people that I've just been honored to be friends with. One of the smartest guys I ever met was, do you know Mac the Cabbie?
Yeah.
Do you remember Mac?
Matt Maroney or something?
No, not Matt. Mac. His name was Mac.
Oh, Mac.
Anyway, I don't remember when I met him, maybe early 90s, but he drove a cab, and it's like reading when you go back to school.
Yeah.
Reading. He looked at this interactions that he had in his cab as just this wellspring of knowledge that he could gain from different people. And he would spend all these cab rides just keying in on what these people had to teach him.
Wow.
And but by the end, he had really
a lot of worldly adventures.
Yeah, and just the perspective on himself, et cetera, like we're talking about, you know. But journaling, I think, does that too. And it's like, am I being honest with myself?
Right.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but I think sometimes it's like you start with outside honesty, and then it bleeds in, or you start inward, then it bleeds out. You know, I don't know which one comes first.
Perspective has a lot to do with what I'm looking at. And when I'm focused more on my insides and the way I am reacting to life, if I'm reacting in a healthy and positive way, it reads differently. It really does. It's like doing a character. All right, I'm going to do this play, and I'm going to do this guy mad, or I'm going to do him confused, or I'm going to do him ashamed. It could be the same words, the same blocking, the same characters that you're against, but if you come into it with a certain attitude, it's just a totally different play.
Right, and that's the outward.
Yeah,
starting
that's
from
the outward,
inside.
And it's good. I think that's what if there's some type of connection to something that is accountable. Some people call it a spiritual life or spiritual guidance, a God or whatever. And I truly believe it's karma. It's an energy. It's out there, and if you are recognizing the self-searching and constantly wanting to be a better version of yourself tomorrow than you were today, that it's an easier path than just constantly being a blunt instrument pounding up against irresistible paths that are just constantly blocking. Because I know when I have surrendered and just given in to, all right, this is the way it is. It's going to suck here for a minute. I'm okay with that. That all of a sudden it's not that hard.
Unbearable.
It's not unbearable. It's not outrageous to get past this. Whereas I remember so many times in my youth, as a child, in my early 20s, I was like, there's no way I'm getting past this. This is the end.
Right.
I'm 24. This is the end,
Yeah.
And it's not true at all, man. It's not true. And I like that, knowing that that's out there. That's in my pocket,
Yeah.
I've
But
connected with this
new.
energy.
It seems new each time, doesn't it?
Every time. It
It's
keeps
like,
growing.
Wow, I have.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I did go through this already.
Oh, yeah.
You just got to remember your own.
The answer is there. And that's the good thing about being around several people that have this same problem that you and I have. And we're talking about recovery. Is that someone has gone through whatever it is you're going through.
Or
loss of a child, divorce, bankruptcy, coming into money, family money, whatever it is, conflict with your children, whatever it is, man. Somebody has already gone through what it is, changing jobs.
Health issues.
Health issues. I'm getting, I'm going to try educating myself later on in life. I'm trying to write a book. I'm trying to perform in a play. I mean, we've done theater with guys in their 70s. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing up here, man? He's like, I love it. I love it. I think we all want to be reasonably happy. And no matter what that is, as long as I'm not at someone else's expense, this is like my humor has changed from 20s and 30s. I was a very much, let's drag someone into the center of the room and be an ass of you, as now is let me still explain this humoristic view that I may have of something, but let's not do it at someone else's expense.
It's your own.
At my own expense. Let me be the town clown, Let me be the court jester. Let me be that kid I was when I was a teen, instead of trying to outwitty everyone. I'm no George Carlin. I'm not an educated person, but I do see things as they are. And you start to see a pattern pretty quick on society, and you start to get it's easy to get, it's easy to get a jaded view of society, and we're all doom and gloom and negative and all that. And then sometimes, man, you're supposed to be the light. Maybe you're the one that's supposed to cheer up everyone that you're running into all these dark, clouded people. Maybe you're the one that's supposed to inspire them, man.
Right.
Who's to say? I don't know. I always greet strangers with a smile, and if they frown, man, maybe I don't know what people are going through. I got locked up for a few years, man, and everybody would go to the phone and they'd call the house, man, and then they start to miss home, or there's something going on and they can't do it, and then all of a sudden they just walk around the yard just all pissed off. And I asked somebody one day, man, that guy just bumped into me, man. I just go beat his ass, and they were like, well, you don't know what the hell that guy's going through. And I keep that mentality today. I don't know what you're going through. Maybe you have an unhealthy relationship. Maybe you have a wonderful relationship at home and your job sucks. Or maybe you're having financial problems, or you got medical issues, or whatever it is you're going through, man. I don't know what the heck you're going through. Yeah. And I should handle it all with some type of kid gloves, man, with some type of an air of accountability to something bigger than myself,
Right. Yeah. And then so on the spiritual front, well, there's a lot of offerings, right, throughout history. Here's 1,000 gods.
Yeah.
From Thor to Isis to whatever, okay?
Yeah.
And so obviously none of this is anything new, and we're not going to there's no new revelation
that
we're going to bring.
No epiphany here,
right,
Dave.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
Like, watch out for that guy.
Yeah.
But so how did you relate? How do you relate?
It's great. No, we have a mutual friend. He's passed away from cancer. His name was Tom Carpenter. He said the most profound thing to me. He said, imagine God is in a room, one God. All the religions say the same thing. There's one God. Imagine God's in a room and there's 1,000 doors in this room. Whatever door you choose to walk through is on you. Whether that is your place on the planet, your financial situation, your global economic area, however it is, your little village. I mean, if you're got a bone in your nose and you're in a third world country, or you're in London, with some of the oldest buildings around, whatever path you choose, is up to you and your cult, your little...
Yeah, culture or...
Yeah,
whatever.
your little tribe. Whatever your tribe is teaching to the young ones at that time, that is probably your brand. I was brand loyal to Jesus Christ all my life.
Right.
But you can't discount...
culture,
you can't discount Judaism and Hinduism and all these Buddhism and all these tree huggers and nature. And, I mean, who cares, man? If that makes you happy, be happy.
Right.
This makes me happy, I'm going to be happy. Someone asked me the other day that they're describing their God and I'm describing my God. And I said, I'm just brand loyal. I'm brand loyal to this because I think my mother and father have passed. This would make my mother happy. It doesn't mean that I'm pigeonholed or I'm constricted by any way because my God is boundless. The same molecular structure of atoms and neutrons on this planet are the same across the galaxy. And the same laws of physics are the same here. The same elements are here or over there. So whatever governs that law, that's how big my God is. And that's the way I've always described it, man. And it's set well with me.
Yeah.
And I've talked to many a new person trying to get off the drugs and the alcohol and trying to get their life together. And I was like, just keep it simple. Think of it like a boxing match. This is the jab, just a jab. Wake up in the morning. Hey, I could use your help. Thanks. Go on. Get up and go on about your business. Try not to be an asshole.
Yeah.
That's it. Hit your knees. Try not to be an asshole. Ta-da.
Right. Ta-da. There's no secret sauce.
There's no secret sauce, man. I think they're all right in any given time.
Yeah. And so at a point of
as long as it's not at someone else's expense.
Okay.
I don't practice all the hate. I don't get into all the hating and stuff,
Right.
If your God is telling me to hate, I don't think your God is bigger than your problems. I think your problems are bigger than your God.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If your God is this big and your problems are this big, I think you got it switched around. I think you should switch them. So if my God is this big, all of a sudden my problems seem very small.
Yeah.
So if someone is trying to preach this opposite thinking to me, I was like, I just tell them, you're right. And then go on about my business.
Right.
If I believe the fundamental idea of every God, if I believe that the fundamental idea of God is in each man, woman, and child, that if I run through my life cutting people off from me, I am literally cutting myself off from the light of God. So I am okay with people that think differently than myself. It's just I'm not going to feed into spending a lot of time in that conflict.
Or what the substance of the separation is.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
And you go on about your business, I'm going to go on about mine. If you think you get closer to God by whatever that is. I don't want to get into conflict, on the social platform here, but if you're into killing children, if you're into growing children and having them grow homeless and poverty-stricken, fine. If that's what you think your God's telling you to do, that's fine. But when you start telling me and my family how to live, now you have my attention.
Yeah.
And I'm an old Midwest redneck, man. I will meet you in the woods. I'll meet you at dark. We can discuss this any way you want. I'm fine with all of that.
On your terms.
On your terms. On my terms,
I
right.
got some things to say.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, okay, so, but and again, I would say if we polled everyone, and this is what I was saying about subjective experience, it's like, well, here's how I relate to XYZ. Or let's say you have different things that strike you as beautiful. We've got different sense of beauty. We've got, let's say these intangible or the transcendental, the luminous. I can't put a scale to your work ethic, right?
Right.
I can't put a scale to your love for a friend or love for a pet, right? But meanwhile, we try to put all these scales on how our spiritual lives might be,
right?
Or which box they should fit in, or do this, don't do that, obey this, don't obey that. What I don't know, man. But for me, the essence of all that is, can I be peaceful right now?
Yeah. Am I living my life in conflict, or am I living it in harmony?
Right. And it touches on the being versus the doing. Like, right? It's like
Right.
even if it's a Saturday and you're going to take a nap and you're not going to go, you're not going to do anything. Maybe you're reading a book, what
Yeah.
let's say, or you're in meditation. Or you're going to take a walk. It's like I'm not really doing anything, but is my being at complete peace
Yeah.
and ease or serenity?
Yeah.
And so
Being okay with who you are at that moment.
Yeah, but it's like we've talked about suffering. Like when someone accesses, hey, I've got to find another way, right?
Right.
They didn't get there on a winning streak.
Right,
Like if your way's working great,
Right.
there's no need.
No, pain's a hell of a motivator.
Yeah. So at the bottom, whatever that bottom is,
Right.
Bottom's with physical health or my laziness or my diet,
Whatever.
or just conflict in relationships,
Financial
whatever
decisions, whatever it is.
yeah, there's usually suffering, and then it's like, oh, I got to look for another way. And my experience is, it doesn't matter what that way is as long as it's not me, reliance on self.
Right.
And then I can go, wait, this is all working really good outside of me, right?
Right.
It's all balanced. The natural laws, like you're talking about physics, the natural world, I don't see a bunch of animals committing suicide.
Right.
Well, how stupid are we?
I think we're the only species that is just constantly our worst enemy.
At war with the self. Yeah.
Always.
Right.
Always. And I think it's because people don't let... I think that it would be easier if there was just let people raise their kids the way they want to, I mean, I'm not saying raise degenerates, have rules in society and that they're accountable for, but it seems to be like there's a generation of people that get away with anything. I mean, in the last 25 years, I've seen celebrities and popular people do horrific shit to people and get away with it because of who their defense attorney was, or
Status,
how
money,
deep
yeah.
status or social, how deep their pockets were. They can monetarily buy their way out of whatever problems they have. And if the same thing was done to somebody with less of a level in society, that they would be punished beyond belief.
Well, this happens. This is...
And it's been like that for as long as mankind has been.
Yeah. Well, okay. With a note towards like Bond, right? Things like this,
Are you talking about James Bond? Sean Connery back in the day.
I was not talking
Oh,
about
that's not
James
talking about
Bond.
Ross. I definitely think some schnapps.
Drop that money. Where's my daughter? No Gene, no money. Yeah, I didn't do a good James Bond. You know what it is too, with voices or whatever, is I have to hear them in order to reflect them.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I grew up on it. I didn't have no friends. I had an imaginary friend when I was a kid. He called me queer and played with the neighbor kid. He's like, I'm out of here. And it was tough. It was tough in my childhood, man. I was molested as a child by my teacher. It was a very hard time for me to get through that, especially because I was homeschooled. Mom was so pissed when she found out what Dad and I were up to. It was just devastating. It's our little secret. Apparently, I don't love the other two as much as I love you. Oh, Dad, can we still go fishing?
But
anyway, I digress.
listen, I know. Me and my sister talked about this too. It's funny, but it's got to hurt first.
Yeah,
It's just got to hurt.
yeah.
And then
It's like
hilarious.
things you did as a kid are harder to do as an adult. You don't really appreciate them. It's like eating vegetables and anal sex. If you're forced to do it as a kid, you really don't enjoy it as an adult.
What did I say? Somebody else is like, my favorite memory as a child was bouncing on my grandpa's lap. We were in the bathtub.
Yeah, I wish he had pants on.
What is the deal? Listen, though, one caveat. I do want to, we'll throw in the much love and respect and tolerance for people
Yeah,
who do
I've never
suffer.
been molested. I don't want to
No,
feed
I'm just
anybody
saying,
some bad grapes.
we're not making fun at the expense of other people, but just, boy, oh boy, oh boy. So respect and love to people that have dealt with that and work through it. I know some people, and it's a tough thing. Hey, speaking of that, friend of mine that I know, he was subjected to some sexual abuse when he was young. And he called me one day, and this is a for real situation, but he called me. He's like, I got to talk to somebody. He's like, and he had essentially like a intellectual blackout or emotional blackout.
Right.
He finds himself on this website, and he just comes to, just mortified, fucking mortified. And he calls me, and he's like, I don't know what happened or how I got here. It literally no idea. And I was like, well, okay. I mean,
On a website.
on a particular website, children, et cetera, whatever.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And first of all, I'm not qualified.
You're right.
Let's start there. So he did end up seeing somebody just to talk through this stuff. But point was, he was having thoughts, and he's got 2 kids, whatever. And as we talked through it, the only thing I could understand or make sense of from him, because he suffered as the victim of it, it's like the shortest way to not be a victim was to become the perpetrator. However stupid and wild
in the world.
Yeah. So I'm saying that old intrinsic emotional wound and that pain, the way to correct that, maybe the only way that they can see to correct that, is that if they're the perpetrator, they cannot be the victim of that. And like this somehow balances the scales. Him and I talking together, this was part of what came out of that. It was like, I mean, I don't know what it means or nothing, but it's like, maybe there's just a hint of a cause or a hint of a resolution to that or something.
Wow.
It was bizarre.
I got nothing.
It was bizarre. Yeah.
Huh.
That's how I felt.
I've never got on any accidental website, and I've been on the internet for 25 years.
Yeah, me neither.
All of it's been type,
there was a
enter.
Tijuana.
Right, or nugget
story.
porn. I found myself on a nugget porn. So it's amputated dwarfs. It's very, very specific, Dave. It is amputated dwarfs where they've lost an arm and a leg. It's called nugget porn. You really got to be hardcore and sold in on it to end up on that particular website.
And for sure, we're definitely not promoting any of this
Not
stuff,
at all.
but
It's just, you don't hate. You know,
like,
you pay the cover charge and you enter. As like everybody else. That's $15 a month. You could see all you need.
What the hell? Oh, the outrageous, the insane.
It's all in
just too
fun.
much.
It's all made up.
Yeah. What is the deal? Oh my God. So what else you want to talk about? We're going to go to dinner after this.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
What time we got?
Oh, it's about that time.
Oh, 5 to 5?
Yeah.
We got plenty of time.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about politics or
union I'm not.
Labor,
nothing. I don't really have much of an opinion about it all. I think I heard this old bit back in the 80s. I was listening to this comedian, and he says that the left hand is run by the left and the right hand's run by the right, and then you come find out it's the same guy working both puppets.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my input on politics. I think it's all corrupted. I think they're both garbage, and that's that.
Yeah. And part of the reason I veer into this, I call it first principles thinking, whatever. And, I don't have any other outlets to explore these ideas, but
right.
There's people out there. I've seen a few people talk about it just in the recent past. This idea of a pure democracy, right? So we ended up with the representative republic purely through geographics. We couldn't all go to Philly and vote on Tuesday, right? So there's the idea for a representative.
Gotcha.
Right? So now you could maybe piece together any number of the issues we have in politics as perhaps being systematic. We got a disconnected electorate. Why? Because you don't have to be informed to vote for Johnny come lately.
Right.
Because he's going to vote for you, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been in the union for 30 years, and every election, they send out a form letter on who you're supposed to vote for.
Right.
And it's, it's suggested only, but, this is definitely the way they would like you to vote. And it's just kind of a controlling of the masses by my point of views, and I've never really gotten that much involved in it.
Right.
I chose not to participate in elections for a good half of my life, and I thought since I quit drinking and drugging that, maybe I should be accountable and try to do a little bit of research. But just like everything, if they want your opinion or they want your vote, then do your own research. Look into it. See where it's at. See what's going on, It's not really that difficult to just look up your local politician and see, are they helping society by your point of view or are they not? And it's your point of view. It's not anyone else's. Or, like, I think half of the population, you just choose not to participate in it.
Yeah.
Well, then you are suffering or you are reaping the rewards from one other person's choosing for you, and that you shouldn't bitch about it. If you chose not to participate in the election, then don't cry about the outcome.
Right.
Or if you think that these views are different over another area, then go move to that area.
Right.
So, I don't know. I've never had really any politician ever come over to my house. He's never showed up at my job site. He's never offered to take anything from me or give anything from me. I pay my taxes as I'm legally restricted to do. I liked something that Trump said a few years ago about the swamp, draining the swamp and all that. And they were like, if you don't like what I'm saying, change the laws.
Yeah.
I'm playing by the rules that you people have set into place. And that was, as far as I heard in 4 years, that was the only good thing I liked about Trump.
Yeah.
That was his,
Wow.
philosophy is, it's all corrupt. And I really think it is on some level.
Yeah, and I guess too, I get focused on, the 3 or 4 people that I talk with each week, or my community, my family, just staying really connected with people,
Yeah. Yeah, I've asked people that I respect their opinion on life, on what they think. And I have people that think politically completely opposite than I do. And it's always been an open forum to where, let me hear your version and here's my version. Let me hear your opinion, here's my opinion. And it's always been a respected, okay, you do what you do, that's great, I'll do what I do.
Yeah.
And go on about our merry ways.
Yeah,
man.
live and let live.
Let live and let live, man.
Yeah.
Life's too short to be arguing about politics or religion or
With the 2 parties.
or whatever, man. Who gives a shit, really? I mean,
Right. So at 57, I mean, why don't you just roll up to some more open mics?
So like I said, I'm trying to get this house. It's literally right down the street from here.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get it into a livable state. I have plywood floors on the 2nd floor, and I have walls that needed to be painted on the 1st floor.
Yeah.
I have 2 functioning bathrooms, but the house was owned and run in very disarray before I acquired it. And I haven't really done any major repairs to it because I've just been trying to acquire it financially through this
Right.
dismantling of this last relationship.
I get all that.
So
I'm
I just
talking
haven't got
about
any time. I just
I
haven't
know,
had
I know.
time.
I
All
get
my
it.
extra time has gone into either working on this house, fixing up this house, trying to
I get
hang
it.
on to this house.
I get it. Okay.
So,
Whenever the clouds part,
yeah.
3 minutes open mic.
Yeah.
Just do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know.
57 is not too late.
It's never too late. Rodney Dangerfield started back again in 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the Tonight Show by the time he was 53. It's never too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you write in this book. You took a break from theater.
Yeah.
We're doing the recovery and 12-step stuff. You're interacting with people. You got the grandson, was it grandson?
Yeah.
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 Your 2 boys, work, divorce, relationship issues. We're all just still growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I have fun, man. I get into motorcycle riding. I do a lot of stuff for recovery. I enjoy this self-searching I'm doing with my therapist. I'm just trying to get through life alone for a first time as an adult and trying to handle some day-to-day stuff. I'm grocery shopping instead of eating out and cooking instead of ordering, having it delivered and stuff. And I'm just enjoying life, man. Enjoying life. Reading a good book right now. I'm starting to write a halfway decent book. There's a couple of the pages and chapters I've shared with people. They've told me it's entertaining, it's good, and that's all it comes down to. I'm not looking to leave some major legacy behind me after I'm gone, and they're gonna speak my names like freaking the guy from 300. What's his name? Leonidas. Like they're gonna repeat my name for thousands of years. I'm not looking for any bullshit like that. Yeah, I'm all right with just, being in conflict with the least amount of people as possible as I pass away and enjoy life, not at someone else's expense, and go on my way.
And so how important is this creative outlet?
I think it feeds the soul, man. Okay. I think the arts are something that's been taken out of public schools. I went to a liberal arts college when I was 25. I started college at 25, went till I was 28. And I think it is important to be able to. I love the band Pearl Jam. Eddie Vedder is my generation's Jim Morrison.
He's your spirit animal.
He's my spirit animal, and I just love the fact I heard him once in this movie called PJ-20. It's a film about the band's first 20 years, and he says, if you don't think you're good at something, try it. Try it 100 times. And perhaps by the end of it, you will be a lot better than you are at the beginning of it. And maybe that's your calling. He does some painting and, so I've been bowling since I was 5 years old. I'm bowling the best I've ever bowled at 57.
How many 300 games?
I got a couple. I got 2 of them. I bowled one in 91. And I shot one in 2013. I just had an 800, which is averaging over 263 a game. I just did that last year. Right. So that's my first one, and first 800, and I'm enjoying. I do a lot of traveling. I've seen Niagara Falls a couple years ago. I saw Gettysburg. I, get into like American history a little bit, which was the hardest course for me to pass in high school. I like to get on my motorcycle and go check out some of these places, man. It's really, really entertaining to get out and just see the world, man, as it is, as raw and natural as it is, man. I bought an RV. I've been wanting to travel a lot, so I just go see something I've never seen. Yeah, man, it's nice. I want to see more than just this. I've been walking these blocks, dude, since 1977. We moved out here in 77 and would walk up and down these very streets and enjoyed it every day. But I just want to see more than just St. Charles, Missouri, Yeah. I worked in the city of St. Louis for 30 years. I want to see more than just our city. So I started to take some travel jobs. I started to get some flyer miles, and I would just go to places. Went to Vegas a couple times last year. Going to Reno. Yeah, made it back. Didn't acquire anything like a new rash, a new disease, a new addiction, and I'm going to Reno this year. I'm going to Springfield, Missouri here in a couple of weeks.
Is that
all just for bowling. All just traveling, semi-pro, semi-amateur, whatever you want to call it, man. It's just people to gather up and get together and they just enjoy themselves, and that's what I do, man. I do it with my little brother, and here's something cool, man. So I've had these troubles with relationships all my life, and I had one of these epiphanies. And I said, let me build on the relationships that I have that are non-sexual. So I have this brother and sister of mine. My parents have passed away. All grandparents passed away. Cousins stopped talking. So I started a group text with my brother and sister every single morning. Good morning. Have a good day. I love you. Very short, very sweet. And finally, after about a week of this, my brother goes, "What are you doing? You know I don't talk to my sister, you know?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine, but I don't want us to be at a funeral and that's where we catch up." I think that's bullshit. We were raised in the same house for, 15 years. Let's all just get past all that, man. All we have is each other. And now, like religious, every single morning the three of us communicate.
Right.
Because I want to build these bonds daily. I have to put effort into this to be a different person, a better person than I was yesterday. I have to put that effort into daily. If I'm by myself, within 3 days, I've convinced myself some untruths. And it gets very scary for a guy like me. Pretty soon I hate my job. My children don't like me. I'm not that funny. This beard is stupid. I don't need any hair. I'm going to shave it off. Pubes are overrated. I can shove that wiffle ball bat a yard up my ass. I mean, whatever fucking crazy shit my brain will come up with, I just start acting out on it. So I needed to have something that has me accountable each and every day, man. Yeah. And that started with just communication with my brother and my sister.
Right. Tend to the garden you can touch.
That's it, man. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. I like that. And it helps out because as a person that suffers from alcoholism, I haven't had a drink in 20 years. I haven't done drugs in 18 years. Of a person that suffers from this affliction, I'm convinced that I'm a piece of shit. And if I just stay in a room quiet long enough, I'll start to believe that lie. And so there's an app out there called I Am. And I had this app for almost 2 years just sending me, "You're going to be okay. You're a good person," and it would just send me positive stuff, or it would tell you, like, tend to the garden that you can touch, or whatever, little phrases, little gimmicks. And it was very, very nice to get out of that self-loathing, self-deprecating, suffering mentality and take out onto enjoying life, enjoying where you're at, and be pleasurable to be around.
Yeah, build value,
build value. Yeah, self-value is so underrated, man. But if you don't like your own self, you're not going to go very far in life, man. Right. All of a sudden, your job's a little shittier, your relationship's a little shittier, your children ain't talking to you enough, you're not getting enough attention from the boss or your partner or life, or your God doesn't love you enough, or whatever your perspective is. It just starts to get doom and gloom, and pretty soon you're the one that's, "Oh, well, I guess I'll just," you're just a whiny one in the crowd, man. Nobody wants to hear that bullshit,
Right. Yeah, but it can catch people, like, again, it requires vigilance.
Yeah.
Like, it can just catch you, sneak up on you.
Yeah. It comes in, and that's why you need like a little soundboard. Hey, man, I don't think this is very healthy. Does this look right, what I'm doing? Does this feel right? What do you think? And like you and a handful of people I've surrounded myself with that I value their opinions. So I can check my scorecard against these. Hey, man, this is what I think I'm doing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and in the extreme, and I mentioned this on another podcast, ordinary people, they don't have to necessarily scrutinize their thoughts.
Yeah, they're fine with it. They're fine with it. They're fine with being a sheep.
Well, but even if they're not sheep, it's like, I don't have to scrutinize every little thing.
No.
Do I?
No.
But for us, for other people, it's like the risk is certain death.
Right.
If I'm just going to believe my own ideas for a couple days.
Right.
Or much less a couple months. Or how about a couple years?
Yeah.
You're up at.
Yeah. I've done it. Yeah.
The first drink, the first drug, and Katie bar the door, this is over.
That's it. Yeah. I have a standard response when anybody asks me if I want something to drink when I'm out to eat with people that aren't in recovery. And I always say, I appreciate it, but I got to be home by Christmas. Would you like a drink, sir? I was like, do you have Jack Daniels in a pitcher? And they're like, excuse me? I go, never mind. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I could refund my misery and live this unhealthy life. But today I'm going to do my best to just abstinence is good enough for me right now.
I have to be home by Christmas.
I got to be home by Christmas. It's a horrible joke around the holidays because they're all like, that's Tuesday. What are you talking about?
That's funny, though. That's funny.
But that's the truth, man, because I'm just unaccountable. I'm always unaccountable when I'm under the influence. So, and that's been a long, long time, man. Now I'm just dealing with the mental rifts from it, you know. Here's something that I heard. So imagine you throw a pebble in the water and you see all the rings coming out. And what I have done in my life is imagine that first circle of ring is your closest friends, the closest ones, the ones you confide in with everything, and they have confided in with you. You have built this trust. Your best friends, my brother is there, one or two men in my life are there. And then outside of that are close friends. They don't know everything, but they know a lot about you. You know, they could read you. They could tell when you're off. And then outside of that, you have some friends. And then outside that, you have acquaintances. So when I would get into these relationships, I've noticed that I would take my partner, whoever that was, and I would immediately bring them into the center. And I'm treating them as if they were my best friend. And I started to develop some real unhealthiness because they hadn't earned the path of each layer of that ring to get to the center. Mm-hmm. And so I had to start keeping things a little bit at bay as far as friendships go. And then also I needed to find out some people that were on my inner circles that hadn't really, it wasn't a two-way street. You know, if someone is more of a taker or repeating thing, hey man, I'm going to tell you something in confidence, and then you hear it repeated to you a couple days later from someone else, they're like, well, the only person I told that to was this guy, you know. Right. And so even with guys, I've been practicing trying to get that into that inner circle a little bigger. Yeah. And it's difficult, man. It's awkward to call somebody up and go, hey man, I need to start making some more close friends, and I would like you to be one of them, you know. Are you in or out, you know? Yeah. And so
I accept.
Yeah. Well, it's I think that's what healthy people do. And it's like in recovery, I'm always trying to parody what a healthy person would be doing in this situation because I'm so self-deprecating. I'm so self-loathing. I'm self-sabotaging.
Yeah, this brings up bad programming. I had some bad programming.
Yeah.
From the 70s.
Yeah.
One was you can do anything you put your mind to.
Right. That's not true.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Right?
No one from Harlem's gone into space. You cannot.
Okay.
You know?
The next one was you ought to know better.
Right. Right.
What?
Yeah.
I was living my whole life with those two things.
Yeah.
I'll try harder. I'll just full on assault of my will on life.
Yeah.
And we're just going to make it happen. And then I'm running around with this idea that I'm doing something new for the first time. I should know better.
Yeah.
Since when?
Right.
Who says?
Yeah.
How about flip that around? The first time I'm doing everything, I do not know better. Who are my examples? Where's my...
Right.
How do I look to any of this?
Yeah, I was told my father's go-to line was, what are you, stupid or something? And then I remember I was like 35, and I'm like, I think I'm stupid. I believe the lie, you know? I think I'm an idiot. Dad, you may be right. And you're like, what are you, fucking stupid or something?
Yeah, so we got before, and this is all a maturation process, you know. And again, we're not just navel gazing. It's like practical. In order to learn something new, I gotta unlearn some of this other stuff.
Yeah.
I gotta deprogram as well as learning new stuff.
Is this helping me? If it isn't, I need to let go of it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's some of the stuff that I've been doing with these relationships, and then also feeding into some healthier stuff with, you know, friends and family and stuff. This is good, this is bad. And sometimes I don't know what's good and bad, so I need to ask healthier people around me, and I get a core of like a soundboard of people that can help guide me. And
it doesn't need to be that many people.
It doesn't need to be that many people. I just have to respect them and then follow through with what they think.
And it's a give, and it's a share.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but here, back up on this a quick second, because I've had this recently as well. Letting go of certain people.
Sure.
How have you done that?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it is my place. Like I stated earlier, if I believe the fundamental idea of is in God, as every man, woman, and child, that if I'm cutting people out of my life, that I'm cutting myself off from the light of God. But there are times when people are just unhealthy to be around, and that you can love them from a distance.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that you need to sit down with them. You don't need to get into financial securities with them. You don't need to do any of this stuff. What you need to do is just leave them at bay and go on about your life, man.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that you need to chase them down or feed them or fix them. I don't need to change your point of view. I don't need to do anything with you.
Yeah.
What I need to do is respect that your views are yours, and they may not be mine or may be conflicting with mine, and then just good luck. Good luck with that. My go-to answer is always, you're right. And then I smile and walk the fuck away. Or type it, or text it, or post onto their shit on social media. You're right.
Yeah. I found this. I can be much more clear and honest in writing.
Yeah.
Than sometimes in person.
It takes two to get into the ring, man. You know. So if you want to be in conflict, it doesn't take you very hard. Just spout your opinion about something, and you'll be in conflict before the sun goes down.
On the street. Yeah.
On anywhere.
Yeah.
You know. And especially on a written platform, it is easier to do that because you got a lot of people that are really tough behind a keyboard. But I am a huge man. I'm 6'5", 265. I have a presence when I enter the room. But I'm not a violent man. I've never been violent, you know.
Right.
I went to jail on confessions. I took something that wasn't mine and I confessed, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're bad." And I was like, "No, I'm just sick." Yeah. I was like, so it's easy to be in conflict if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I really think that. So just letting people be who they got to be, you know, right now.
I'm not fighting. I can't fight with you.
Right. That's it.
I just can't fight with you.
It's exhausting. It really is, man. My phone is blowing up as we're sitting here.
Right.
And it's, again, another conflict just waiting to happen. I could
So
either
many
stop.
There's invitations. You don't have to go anywhere.
I don't have to do any of this, man. I could just let it be who they got to be and just go on about my life. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, good. That's good. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think so. We should end it with that then.
You want to end on that note?
I think so, buddy.
All right. Love you, man.
I love you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Oh,
Stay tuned.
Wouldn't be anywhere else.
Share, like, subscribe. We appreciate you listening. And we'll talk soon.
To know who we are, and where we're going, we must know how we arrived here. Welcome to Rephetic, a revolutionary study of the Great Pyramid, which promises to rewrite civilization's history